Good morning, students. Welcome back to the second session of first chapter of statistics. In the previous session, I had covered the introduction to statistics and economics. We talked about what is economics, what are economic and non-economic activities. Then we had covered what is statistics, what is plural, what is statistics in plural sense, in singular sense, which we will be discussing in detail in this uh, video, and also we discuss the importance of statistics. Now coming to the topics that I want to discuss in this video, there are major 4-5 topics. One is that I want to discuss statistics in plural sense. So statistics in plural sense, like I told you, it is the data, it is the information collected all together. So we will be discussing the characteristics of that data. When I say statistics as a data, what is that data, what are the characteristics, what are the features of that data? Okay, that we will be discussing. And also statistics in its plural, in singular sense. Singular sense means the methods, the methodology, the stages, that the tools, the techniques that we use to do statistical analysis. Like I told you in the previous class, there are different stages like collection, organization, and so on and so forth. So we will be discussing those stages and also tools along with them. So these are the two major topics, and then next comes are the limitations of statistics that we will be discussing, and also distrust in statistics. That means why do people lose trust in statistics despite of it being so scientifically originated. Okay, so let's come to the first topic, that means characteristics of statistics in plural sense. So now here we are talking about statistics as data, as information. What is statistics in plural sense? How do we identify that it is the correct form of data? So number one is that it is an aggregate of facts. So aggregate of facts का मतलब है जैसे just because I have an information about you that your age is, let's say, 14 years, it is just a number. It is not an aggregate of facts. Aggregate means summation, collected data. It is just one number, and that one number is not going to tell me anything about you or anybody else. So I need to collect numbers from all of the class, or at least more than two people, so that I can compare, so that I can analyze, okay, this one is younger, this one is older, or the average age is this in your class, or the mode is this. So to have an analysis or to run a statistical method, I need to have aggregate of facts. Facts are the numbers here. The second one is that it is affected by multiplicity of causes. That means these facts are influenced by a variety of factors. So suppose we are talking about production of a crop. So production of a crop, I am studying crop production. So it is affected by rainfall, the amount of fertilizers used, the kind of seeds used, the method of cultivation. So these are the factors affecting the crop production here. So whatever I am studying in my whatever I am doing my statistical analysis on, is affected by multiplicity of causes in the background. Then the third characteristic is numerically expressed. Now this also comes as a limitation. That means I cannot study the data which is not in numericals. Example, I am just saying that A is taller than B. Now this is not numerically expressed. But when I say that A's height is 5 feet 5 inches, and B's height is 5 feet 8 inches, now these two numbers are numerically expressed. I can study the numbers when they are expressed numerically, but I cannot study them when they are not done in numerical terms. So there are two ways of giving information. One is quantitative, the other one is qualitative. So quantitative is like your height, your weight, your age. So these are all quantitative, you can express them in numbers. But qualitative is like intelligence, beauty, honesty. Now these are qualitative things, they cannot be basically used, or a statistical analysis cannot be done on them. So they have to be converted into a quantitative number, they have to be converted into a number so that they can be then used in statistics. So the major third characteristic of the data is that it is numerically, quantitatively expressed. Only then a statistical analysis can be done. Then reasonable standard of accuracy. Now when I say reasonable, why do I say reasonable and not exact? I can never get 100% accuracy, because when I'm performing statistical analysis, the reason is that uh, I want to get a result for all of the population while dealing with only a sample. What I'm trying to say is, like in a bank, if I want to give a loan to somebody, or there are many applicants with me, and I have the credit history also. So instead of analyzing each and every individual, I need to have a certain terms and conditions with me that would be based on my analysis, that if the person meets these criteria, then he is good enough and I can give the loan. So that is the reasonable standard, that reasonably, yes, I can say most probably this person will return the loan. There is always a chance that that person may not return the amount. So by doing the statistical analysis, what I am trying to do is I am trying to cover majority of the possibilities where I can save my money or time or effort. Of course, I cannot always protect myself from the future mishappenings with 100% assurity. So reasonable standard है, that means acceptable statistical analysis में हम जब भी एक कुछ आंसर लाते हैं, कोई analysis करते हैं, so we get the result which is in majority cases acceptable. So that's the reasonable standard of accuracy of your data. So your data now, before going to the analysis, your data should also be accurate. Your data has to be basically, of course, it is impossible to get 100% accurate data from your customers or from the population. So we try to get as much accurate as possible. So there is a reasonable accuracy there also, and that is why the results will also give you a reasonable or justified accuracy. Then fifth is predetermined purpose. Of course, whenever I have a data in front of me, if I have something in my mind for which I needed that data, I should always have an objective before collecting it. So like right now you are doing a project work, you have decided a title. So when I was introducing the project work to you, I told you the objective of doing the project work is to learn something from your course or something general. So the objective should always be clear before you start working on anything. So predetermined purpose, there should be a purpose of collecting that data. Then sixth is collected in a systematic manner. Of course, if it is not collected properly or in a sorry, there was a problem. So if it has to be collected in a systematic manner, that means it should not be in a haphazard manner. When I have the data in front of me, it should be very clear that these are the individuals that I'm talking about, this is the information that I have, and it should always be I mean the information of person A should be adjacent to that person A only. The data should not be mixed, and it should not be in different sheets, it should be all together. So in a very systematic manner, in a very proper organized way, that will help us in understanding what is there in the whole sheet, the Excel sheet wherever your data is stored. Okay, there are two more characteristics, I am just writing them. So yeah, these are the two characteristics, two more apart from the six that we have already done. So that data should be placed in relation to each other. Of course, whatever information I am collecting about individuals should be related to each other. If I am comparing the height of trees to height of men in a locality, it makes no sense. I should be able to compare, like I am collecting the data of income of all the people in a particular society, so it should be income of all the people, like so that I can at least compare. That's a homogeneous data. If I am comparing income with marital status or something, that's heterogeneous. That makes no sense unless you have an objective of doing that. So whatever data you have should be in relation to each other. I should know that if there are 2 3 columns placed beside each other, what comparison am I going to draw from them? Are they even related to each other or not? That should be there in the data. Then enumerated or estimated. अब ये कॉन्सेप्ट है, थोड़ा सा ब्रॉड है, मैं थोड़ा अभी शॉर्ट में बताऊंगी, आगे नेक्स्ट चैप्टर्स में हम करेंगे. एन्यूमरेटर एक पर्सन होता है. एन एन्यूमरेटर इज अ पर्सन हु कलेक्ट्स इंफॉर्मेशन पर्सनली फ्रॉम द पीपल, and estimation is what you do when there are so many people that you cannot go to them personally. So if let's say there is a gathering of 5 lakh or 7 lakh people, I will have to estimate that how much food would be required or how much water should I keep. That's an estimation that I do when the population is huge. Enumerator method, I can use enumeration in the case of data. I can use when there are very limited people, like a small house gathering of 20-25 people. So I can easily talk to everybody and know whether their preference is vegetarian or non-vegetarian or whatever it is. So it is easier to collect the data in this case, and a little difficult since you are just estimating, since the population is very high here. Population is very huge here, and the population, when the population is small, you prefer to enumerate, be an enumerator and talk to them personally. So these are the characteristics of statistics in its plural sense. Now we move on to the next topic. Okay, so now we are going to discuss statistics as a method. Earlier we had discussed statistics as a data in the plural sense. Now we are discussing statistics as a method in singular sense. Okay, so method का मतलब है, now we are going to discuss all the techniques. There are majorly 5 stages that I had mentioned about in my previous class, and also in the very initial class I had also explained these things, but I am explaining them again. This first stage, and which is the most important stage, इस पे पूरा your all other stages depend on this first stage. It's that important. Okay, collection of data. That means I'm collecting my data from the people I want to study on. Okay, from the objects, from the people, whatever I want to study about or on, so I need to collect data about them. Now there are 2 methods of doing them. Census is it has come from the word century. 100%, that means when I am collecting data 100% about the entire population. अगर मेरे पास 100 लोग हैं तो मैं 100 के 100 का डाटा कलेक्ट कर रहा हूँ. That is census. The other method is sample. Sampling is used when your population is so huge that it is humanly impossible for me to collect the data about all of them. So there's a light problem, I think. So here you can read this collection here. Okay, sampling is used when the population is so huge that humanly impossible to collect the data from each of them. So what we do is, we basically from the entire population we just choose one subset. This subset is known as the sample. We collect the data of only this sample, which is representing the whole of population, and then we do our statistical analysis only on this sample. So we are assuming here that the sample is a good representative of the population, so that I can whatever results that I get from the sample will be applicable to the whole of the population. So these are the 2 techniques of collecting the data: census technique or the sampling method or technique. The second stage is organization of data. Organization is when I have collected all the numbers, they're all there, it's a raw data. Okay, suppose it is about the weight or height. It's a raw data. Now I need to organize it. So organize का मतलब क्या होता है? When I look at the data, at least I'm able to understand, okay, these many people are ranging in between this particular class interval. Let's say weight I am seeing. So there are 20 people in the range of weight 30 kg to 40 kgs. And so on. So this is how I want my data to be organized, so that at least I will have an idea of what my population is all about, or whatever the sample or the census. So it is done by data array. It is basically, array means frequency, tally bar. So frequency distribution, frequency table, discrete series. So these are the basically terminologies that we will be using. Tally bar you have already done in previous classes. Using that, this is the very basic concept that you're aware of. Using that, we will be organizing the data. Then comes the next part, which is presentation. Now I have just organized. What if I want to present the same thing? So for that I will be using tables, graphs, or diagrams. Like I told you, pie diagram, it could be a bar graph, or it could be any table. It could be a multiple bar diagram, it could be a percentage bar diagram. So it could be a histogram, a polygon. So these are the methods through which I can present. It depends on the kind of data that I have, and I will be able to choose which method is suitable to present the same data. Then comes the next part, is the analysis. This is all mathematical numerical part. This is basically your unit 3. ये यूनिट 1 आपका आ जाता है, फिर आपका ये यूनिट 2 आ जाता है, ये यूनिट 3 आ जाता है, एनालिसिस एंड प्रेजेंटेशन. एनालिसिस में आ जाता है आपका मेजर्स ऑफ सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी और मेजर्स ऑफ डिस्पर्शन. अभी मैंने इसमें लिखा नहीं है, और कोरिलेशन और इंडेक्स नंबर्स. सो एनालिसिस में यू बेसिकली परफॉर्म ऑल स्टैटिस्टिकल formulas, and you calculate mean, median, mode, depending on what you want to know, what the objective of your study is. Then you calculate the that particular statistical formula, or whatever you want. You could be calculating standard deviation if you want to know how dispersed the data is, how far the numbers are from each other. So we will be discussing them all. These are all separate chapters. So these are the methods to do the analysis of data. The next one is the presentation of data. Now presentation of data, basically it's हम क्या करते हैं, whenever we do this part, suppose in standard deviation. Now standard deviation, I calculated a number, so it tells me how far the observations are, the data is from each other. So it tells me the degree of relationship. It tells me sometimes in analysis I'm calculating correlation, relationship between two variables x and y. So in a presentation I will tell that x and y are totally not related, or they are highly related. So that's the presentation. No, this is a wrong word. I'm writing, I wrote presentation instead of interpretation. I just realized while speaking that the wrong word has been used. So this is interpretation. So interpretation is basically here now interpreting the data. I am telling you the degree of relationship, that how well x and y are related, or I am now basically interpreting that if the mean is high, the average is high of a data, what does it mean? If the mode is a particular number, what does it mean? If the standard deviation is 0, what does it mean? So the meaning, the inference out of it is the interpretation of data. So these two are generally done together only. So these are the methods, techniques in statistics, which is basically now being discussed as a method in singular sense. Now we move on to the next topic. Okay, so the next topic here is the limitation of statistics. Now I will be discussing the basically the areas where we cannot help but accept the fact that we have to adjust with the situation only. Those are the limitations. That means we cannot beat them. These are the facts that we have to accept. limitation. Number one is that it studies only numerical facts. Like I told you that statistical analysis, you cannot calculate mean of the health of somebody. I'm just saying that this person is healthy, not healthy, or this person is honest, this is not. So you cannot basically run any statistical analysis on that. So all these things have to be converted or have to be originally in quantitative, in numerical facts, so that a statistical analysis can be done. Then second, it deals with only aggregates of facts. Like I have told you that just having one number, that like you told me, you tell me that you scored 80 marks in a particular subject A. So it's not going to help me in doing any analysis, because I don't know what is the what scores have you been getting in the past, or what are the scores of your other subjects, or how much have the other students scored. So I cannot analyze just based on one number. I need to have aggregate a lot of numbers together so that I can compare and then analyze. It can be misused. It can be misused in two ways. Number one who does not know how to use it. The other one who is an expert and who knows how to basically um, misinterpret it, or how to be biased, or how to draw any conclusion that he likes to or she likes to make. So any expert can also deceive the results, can present it in any manner whatsoever he likes to. This will also be discussed in the next topic, which is distrust of statistics. So yes, it can be misused by the ignorant people or by the experts, both. It can be misused by both, depending that if a person doesn't know how to use statistics, then it is being misused, and if a person knows how to misuse it, how to use it properly, can easily fool you also. Then next point are true only on an average. Now this is very tricky. True only on an average, what does it mean? It means that let's say I'm calculating an average. I am saying that on an average in a city, the average income is x lakhs per month. Now an individual is earning x lakhs per month on an average. Let's bring it to thousands. 20,000 rupees per person is earning. Does it mean that every individual is earning 20,000? No. Somebody may be earning in maybe 10 lakh or 20 lakhs a month. Somebody may be earning only 5,000 a month. It is just an average. So it is true only on an average. It is not true on an individual basis. When I say that the mean is 20,000, does not mean that every person is earning 20,000. It only means that the mean of all, the average of all is 20,000. Okay. So that is the limitation कि हमने statistics से एक number तो बता दिया. We have told that the average is this, but it's not true for all. It's just a representation which is not true for everybody. Then fifth point, only experts can make best possible use of statistics. Again, this is related to this one, that if you're not aware of the statistical tools or what interpretation you can make out of them, you cannot use statistics in your field of study. So you have to be an expert to be able to use statistics. Okay, otherwise you'll not be able to use it. So this is the limitation. Any amateur, any new person cannot use it. Okay, so these are the last two points, last two limitations of statistics. Number one is, without reference the results may prove to be wrong. So in this case, there's an example that I will use to explain it. There are two firms, let's say A and B. Now I am now comparing the profits of these two firms. Let's say in first year A earned a profit of 2,000, and in second year he earned a profit of 3,000 rupees. Similarly here, when I see B earned a profit of 0, and then in second year earned a profit of, let's say, 5,000. So this A has been more or less consistent and B has had a jump from 0 to 5,000. When I see an average of A, it comes out to be 2,500 and B's average is also 2,500. Let's say I am just giving you the results and not the above part. I'm not telling you the above information. I'm just giving you this information in the bottom. I am telling you that the average of both A and B is the same, so they are performing same only. This is the result, and this is wrong because I have not told you that A has been consistent and B has had a huge jump from 0 to 5,000. So without these references, the results just telling you that both are same but both are not same. So that's why the results will be wrong without the reference, without proper reference of the background of what is happening, right? This also connects you to the topic that it is true, may be true on an average. So just telling you that the average is 2,500 is not enough. Individually it might be a different story. Then the last one, data should be uniform and homogeneous. This again is a similar point. Like I told you, when I have the data with me, I should be able to compare. Just putting two different data, totally unrelated to unrelated things. Like I'm uh, maybe putting your health, and the other section is telling me about your maybe height. No, height and health, yes, they can be compared. Let's say a height of a tree and height of a man, so these two have no relation to each other, so they are not homogeneous in this case. So the data should be homogeneous. Homogeneous means similar or that which can be compared. Uniformity and similarity should be there in the data so that proper analysis can be done. So these are the limitations that I have talked about. Now we move on to the last topic, which is distrust of statistics. So now the last topic here is distrust of statistics. That means when people lose trust in statistics. Now before I explain you what it is, why does it happen, I'll tell you what exactly it is coming from. So there have been cases where the experts in statistics have misused their expert knowledge to the extent that they have deceived, or they have tried to present the data in a way that people think that maybe the situation is different. I mean, if the reality is A, they have tried to present it as B because they are so expert in their methodology that they can present the data, or they can interpret the data in multiple ways. So that's why people start losing trust in statistics. So it is basically lack of confidence in statistical methods and statements. Lack of confidence is when the experts they start to misuse the statistics, the tools. Now people say that statistics is at fault. No, statistics is not at fault, the users are at fault. So when I say that a doctor prescribes you a medicine and the medicine does more harm to you than good, is the medicine at fault? No, the medicine was supposed to serve a purpose. It did not serve you because the doctor did not prescribe you the right medicine. The doctor is at fault. So same here, statistics is just a tool. The people who are using it are at fault here. They are at fault, the users are at fault. So those irresponsible people, those experts who believe in cheating people or fooling you with the help of their expert knowledge are the people causing this distrust of statistics. Now what are the causes? Number one, collection of statistics being partial or biased. Let's say I want to collect the data, or I want to know what is the average income in a particular area. So and I want the result to be on the higher side, so I will definitely go and visit people only who have a higher income. So my collection of the data is biased here. I am not unbiased, I am not neutral. So this could lead to a wrong result. This is one of the causes. The other one is presentation major one. presentation. With the same data you can interpret in many ways. So when you interpret in a way it is not supposed to be, when you're trying to say that the economy is still growing, so on what grounds are you saying it? Maybe you are taking a particular parameter that is not relevant right now, but that's your statistical study, you have used it. So you could present the economy in a totally different shape than it is in reality. So this also causes distrust of statistics. Now the next 2 points here, again the causes of distrust of statistics we are discussing. The next 2 points here are statistics can be altered to match predetermined conclusion. Now I want to show that the economy is growing, I want to prove it. So I will prove it because I'm an expert. I can easily manipulate the numbers in front of you. The same numbers, I can show it in a way that the inflation is going down, the GDP is going up, the economy is doing well. So it can be easily done. Experts can easily misuse it. Then fourth one, so these all points are interrelated only. They are overlapping mostly. So different kinds of statistics are obtained in respect of a given problem. A biggest example is like inflation. There are so many ways of calculating inflation that it really depends on the way you want to present it. If you want the inflation to go up, you will use a different formula. If you want to show that the inflation is going down, you'll use a different formula. So different kinds of statistics are done for the same thing. So these are the reasons which causes distrust in statistics. Now next we are going to study that how can we remove distrust of statistics. So these are the points for removal of distrust of statistics. How can we get rid of it? Number one is limitations are to be kept in mind. There are limitations that I discussed. So whenever we are performing any statistical analysis, we must be aware of all the limitations and we must try to find a way in which we can get the best possible answer related to the reality without limitations affecting it much. The second one is only experts to use it. Now the major thing is that we started with was that the experts are misusing it. Now we are saying only experts to use it. So there's one word here that is to be added: carefully. Only experts to use it carefully, and being mindful of the fact that their results can impact a lot of people. Okay, with their right conscious and their right mind, they should use it, experts to use it. So because distrust can also be caused by people who are incompetent or who have incomplete knowledge of statistics. That is also one of the causes which I did not discuss, but now I am telling you. So definitely a new learner, a beginner or a naive person should not use statistics or should not present any analysis because his knowledge is still incomplete. He's not an expert. So experts must use it, but with their right conscience and right mind, carefully. The last one is that the user should be impartial. Again, similar to this one, you have to be a neutral person, an impartial, unbiased person to be able to give the right results, to be able to give trustworthy results, to be able to emphasize trust on statistics. So these are the points. Now I have discussed all the topics in chapter number 1. With this we are finishing this chapter. The assignment will follow. In case of any doubt, I hope I have been able to clarify all the topics. In case of any doubt, you can mail me. You have my mail ID. And thank you for listening today. We'll meet again. Thank you. Bye bye.